Is it me, or does it always seem like these crazy ass insects, the ones that are the most destructive, come out of China? Well, they are saying this hornet that comes out of Asia has made it to the US, and they call it the murder hornet. This came out in the New York Times, May 2nd, 2020. Murder hornets in the US. The rush to stop the Asian giant hornet. Wow. So there are sightings of this, and it's supposed to be a really vicious type of hornet, and it also devastates the bee population wherever it's found. In his decades of beekeeping, Ted McFall had never seen anything like it. As he pulled his truck up to check on a group of hives near Custer, Washington in November, he could spot from the window a mess of bees, carcasses on the ground. As he looked closer, he saw a pile of dead members of the colony in front of a hive and more carnage inside. Thousands and thousands of bees with their heads torn from their bodies and no sign of a culprit. I couldn't wrap my head around what could have done that, McFall said. Only later he did come to suspect the killer was what researchers simply call the murder hornet, with queens that can grow up to 2 inches long. Asian giant hornets use mandibles shaped like spiked shark fins to wipe out a honeybee hive in a matter of hours, decapitating the bees and flying away. Oh man, to feed their young. For larger targets, the hornets, potent venom and stinger, long enough to puncture a beekeeping suit. Wow, you mean to tell me they got a stinger that can penetrate a beekeeping suit? Damn. Make for an excruciating combination, the victims have likened to hot metal driving into their skin. In Japan, the hornets kill up to 50 people a year. Now, for the first time, they have arrived in the United States. Mr. McFall still is not certain that the Asian giant hornet were responsible for the plunder of his hive, but two of the predatory insects were discovered last fall in northwest corner of Washington state, a few miles north of his property. The first sightings in the United States. Scientists have since embarked on a full-scale hunt for the hornets, worried that the invaders could decimate bee populations in the United States and establish such a deep presence that all hope of eradication could be lost. This is our window to keep it from establishing, said Chris Looney. All right. If we can't do it in the next couple of years, it probably can't be done. Wow. On a cold morning, early December, 2.5 miles to the north of Mr. McFall's property, Jeff Cornelius stepped on his front porch with his mixed terrier dog. He looked down to a jarring sight. It was the biggest hornet I've ever seen. The insect was dead, And after inspecting it, Mr. Cornelius had a hunch it might be an Asian giant hornet. It did not make much sense given his location in the world, but he had seen an episode of the YouTube personality Coyote Peterson getting a brutal sting from one of those hornets. Beyond its size, the hornet has a distinctive look with a cartoonish, fierce face featuring teardrop eyes like Spider Man, orange and black stripes, with an extended down in its body like a tiger, and broad, wispy wings like a small dragonfly. Mr. Cornelius contacted the state, which came out to confirm that it was indeed an Asian giant hornet. Soon after, they learned that a local beekeeper in the area had also found one of the hornets. Dr. Looney said it was immediately clear that the state faced a serious problem, but with only two insects in hand and winter coming, it was nearly impossible to determine how much the hornet had already made itself at home. Over the winter, state agriculture biologists and local beekeepers got to work preparing for the coming season. Ruthie Danielson, a beekeeper who has helped organize her peers to combat the hornet. Mm. Most people are scared to get stung by them, Miss Danielson said. We're scared that they are going to totally destroy our hives. Adding to the uncertainty and mystery were some other discoveries of the Asian giant hornet across the border in Canada. In November, a single hornet was seen in White Rock, British Columbia, perhaps 10 miles away from the discoveries in Washington state, likely too far for the hornet to be part of the same colony. Even earlier, there had been a hive discovered in Vancouver Island across the strait that probably was too wide for a hornet to have crossed from the mainland. Crews were able to track down the hive on Vancouver Island and, well, they exterminated it. He set out at night when the hornets would be in their nest. He put on shorts and a thick pair of sweatpants, then his bee suit. He donned the Kevlar braces on his ankle and wrist. But as he approached the hive, he said the rustling of the brush and the shine of his flashlight awakened the colony. Before he had a chance to douse the nest with carbon dioxide, he felt the first searing jabs in his leg. Ugh. Through his bee suit and underlying sweatpants. Wow, that's a long stinger to be able to penetrate those layers of clothes that he had on. It was like having a red hot thumbtacks being driven into my flesh. He ended up getting stung at least 7 times. Some of the stings drew blood. Wow. Well, I certainly don't want to see these things. All right, so he is talking about the next day, his legs were aching, and it was as if he had the flu. Of the thousands of times he has been stung in his lifetime of work, he said the Asian giant hornet stings were the most painful. Wow. I don't want to see this thing. I'm telling you, I don't want to see this thing. Look, those stink bugs that we got came over here from Asia. And I'm not surprised because so many things are imported over here from the Asian countries that you are going to get their insects traveling on those containers or traveling inside the containers from there. Well, y'all, please tell me what you think. I certainly don't want to see any more new insects. And like I said, it seemed like the most wicked ones come from, China or some Asian country. They always seem to be far worse than the ones we already got here. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this, what they call the murder hornet. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.